Johnstone. Yeah, doing a little bit of development on SteemStars. I got a few different things that I want to cover or try to cover today. Um, First things first is tokens. So a little while back, I think it's maybe 4 days ago now. Let's take a look back here. Message to early adopters. Yeah, 8 days ago. Sorry. I made my second announcement about the progress for the SteemStars token. And yeah, so that's been moving along further. I wanted to come back to it and just sort of touch base on how that works. And, if you're one of the people that have tokens waiting, because I've done sort of all of my early adopters of SteemStars are receiving 100 SteemStars tokens. Um, just as a sort of thank you for being, early adopters. So I'll post this list as well, the updated list, because I've had a few more people actually claim their tokens since this list was posted. But I also want to cover how to go about creating a Counterparty wallet, which is the platform on which I've created the SteemStars token here. And yeah, just sort of walk you through how to go about doing that, just so everybody can kind of get on board and maybe understand the technology a little better, because it is actually, I don't know, in my opinion, kind of revolutionary. So what we can do here is we can go to, and I'll post this as well, we can go to this counterpartychain.io address here, and we can just click on wallets. Okay, so it's going to take us to this screen right here, and basically this is where we can create ourselves a new wallet. So I'm going to walk through creating a new wallet, and we'll sort of go from there. Okay, so two sort of notes is that, well, actually, sorry, before I go there, let's just click on this create new wallet. Okay, so this is going to give you a seed code. Okay, now what I recommend you do is you take this, and if it's not to your liking, you can regenerate it, whatever. Um, it's pretty arbitrary. Basically, this is the string that is actually storing the information for the wallet that you've created. So it's your passphrase, essentially, right? So we're going to take this, and we're going to copy this into somewhere very safe, okay? It's up to you guys where you copy it to. You could write it down on a piece of paper and store it that way. Whatever. For this sort of walkthrough, I'm just gonna Control C it and just copy it into my clipboard, because I'm not actually going to be reusing this wallet. So if somebody else, well, actually, no, I don't recommend that somebody else use this wallet either, but whatever, right? So then you just sort of check off this checkbox to say that you've stored it securely somewhere, and then press continue, okay? And now it gives you an option. I'm not sure I fully understand this option, to create a quick link to access your URL for your wallet. So I haven't been using this method, but by my understanding, basically this will just give you a URL, like a web address, that you can save then as well. And then when you copy and paste that into your URL bar, that's going to take you to your wallet automatically. But I've been skipping that step. I haven't been using it. So once we've done that, it's going to take us right back to this page, but it's got this as well. Okay, so log into your wallet is what we're going to need to do now. And in my case, like I said, I just copy it and pasted it, and then we press open wallet, and there's some license agreement basically that you need to agree to with using this. This is all fairly standard stuff They don't, claim any liability for anything lost within this. It's your own responsibility. This is crypto, okay, guys? It's your own responsibility to take care of your keys. Government indictment of information and all that sort of stuff. Like, this crypto's a wild, wild west. So keep that in mind. Be safe. Um, and yeah, as long as you're willing to move along here, then we'll just go ahead and accept terms, and we'll be taken to this nice view here. Okay, so now this is where I want to cover some information about uh, Counterparty. Okay, so your Counterparty address, which is now right here. Okay, that's your Counterparty address. That's the public address that you can give other people to allow them to send you Counterparty tokens, to allow them to send you Counterparty. XCP is the ticker name for Counterparty, okay? And you'll notice one other thing here. There's BTC here, okay? So this wallet, this Counterparty wallet, actually functions as a Bitcoin wallet as well, which is, in my opinion, pretty interesting because there's some applications that come along with that make it fairly uh, strong. Okay, so first of all, what's Counterparty? So Counterparty is it's actually what's known as in crypto speak a DEX. Okay, so a DEX is obviously, as much as we want to roll our eyes, we think we're all in the military. A DEX stands for a decentralized exchange. Okay, so a decentralized exchange, what that means is that there is no single um, party that's in control of that exchange, that's in control of the money that's inside that exchange, or sorry, not the money, the tokens that are inside that exchange, the crypto that's inside that exchange. There's no single individual. I guess in some ways you could argue that that there is a group that's in control of it, because the developers of Counterparty, of course, have a fair amount of control over what happens within the network. But essentially, it's a different kind of exchange than, let's say, Poloniex or Bitfinex or anything like that, because you don't have this single organization that's directly in control of your tokens when you have tokens within that platform. Okay, so that makes this pretty powerful in my mind. I think this is kind of like the next step forward in terms of the decentralization of things. It's a good thing that these platforms are coming out. I think we're all experienced. Anybody that's in the crypto world, I think we're all experienced with the risks of dealing with a centralized exchange. We recognize of course, like the most legacy one is, the Mt. Gox hack, of course. And there's been many others. There's lots of other centralized exchange hacks that have happened, some of which have good stories to them, some of which don't so much. But anyways, back to the point, is that Counterparty, the way it goes about actually securing its transactions is, of course, it has its own cryptocurrency and it has its own blockchain. But one of the things that it does for securing its information is any transaction that happens on Counterparty is minted into the blocks on Bitcoin. Okay, so basically there's hash referencing data provided and stamped onto the Bitcoin network. So that provides, in terms of Counterparty being a decentralized exchange and the potential risk in terms of, attacks of reversible blocks and so on and so forth, the risk that's involved there, because the information is being minted onto the Bitcoin blockchain as well, that provides a very high level of security to the operations that are conducted on Counterparty. So that's a really encouraging thought to me, and it's one of the reasons that I chose Counterparty as my first exchange for SteemStars, is because because of that high level of security that provides. However, of course, as we all know, and just like everything, y- you know, everything that has a bonus kind of comes with a everything. It comes with a risk, right? Or not a risk, I guess, but it comes with a disadvantage. Sorry. And the disadvantage that comes along with this is that every operation that you want to take on on Counterparty is gonna cost a certain amount of BTC. Okay, so it's generally a small amount, but it is gonna cost a certain amount of BTC to be able to conduct that operation. So to get yourself started, um, when you first, as it says right here, when you first start off, you're actually gonna need to kind of announce yourself on the Counterparty uh, chain, and there are Counterparty faucets that you can go to, give them your address here, this address here, and they'll send you a little bit of Counterparty, okay? Um, yeah, so that's kind of the extent of it there. So if you're one of the early adopters of SteemStars, what you can do is once you've gone through this process that I've walked you through, you can take this address here, copy it, and paste it down into the comment box down below here, okay? So just, yeah, hit me up with that, and I'll be happy to send you off your. I've got 100 SteemStars tokens waiting for all of my early adopters. So anybody that's in that boat, please do so. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to cover here is I wanna just do a little walkthrough of SteemStars Framework 1. Okay, so this is the framework that's up and running. It's operational. This is the framework that my early adopters have been that I pulled that list from. Okay, that they've been playing with, and it adds some interesting. Basically, SteemStars right now in Framework 1 kind of adds. It's really a discovery tool right now, okay? But to give a sort of caveat to that statement, um, being a discovery tool, really this version 1 framework is really actually just kind of like a prototype, and it doesn't even actually have full functionality of what I'm proposing within SteemStars in it, okay? So I want to put those caveats forward, okay? So here we are. The address is steemstars.herokuapp.com, and of course I'll link that in the description as well. And so we come to this, and of course we're all familiar with the classical register button, or up top here, you can click sign up. That takes you to the same place. Okay, and you just need to provide your email address, okay, and your password, and of course confirm your password. So let's walk through this process here. So I'm going to walk through this process, and then we'll see the rest of what's required to get you set up here, okay? Um, yeah. So it does take a little bit for the email sender to send off. I'm all okay. So with this, framework version 1, I am using all free tools that are available to developers, and this Heroku app platform is one of those free tools that's kind of provided. It's fantastic utility. Basically, it allows a developer to come in with kind of like a prototype, like myself, and get it up and functional, and spun out to anybody that's potentially interested, and at no cost. So it's really fantastic in that way. So hopefully here in a little bit we'll have gotten our confirmation. Um, let's go and take a look here, because I know that it does take a little bit to to get this right. Uh, but either way, so we'll pop over here. And there is a possibility that it lands itself into, you know, your junk box, okay? Fortunately for me, it didn't, okay? Um, so yeah, we'll click on here and we'll go to confirm my account. You know, this is all fairly standard stuff, but I'm gonna walk you guys through the entire process because I really want to make this as simple for everyone as it could possibly be. Okay. So here it says successfully confirmed. We're good to go. So now we can click login, and that's with the details that you provided there. Okay. Now you're gonna notice something right off the bat here that, oh, well, there doesn't seem to be any information displayed here. So the reason for that is that SteemStars is driven by this platform over here called Steam. Okay, so if you don't have a Steam account, creating a Steam account is extremely straightforward, but you can go to steemit.com and create yourself a Steam account, okay? And then, once you've done that, you'll have a username. Okay, so this username is the piece of information that you need for SteemStars. This is how it links itself up to your information on Steam. And yeah, so what we do is we just follow this little instruction notification here. So you must set your Steam account in your profile. Okay, so let's go to profile. We'll click on that. And we've copied over our username over on Steam. And we'll just put that into this field here. Now, this probably could have used some work. This is version framework 1. I'll be making this process considerably more straightforward once I launch version framework 2, which is what I'm in development of right now. But basically, you come down to the bottom here and you just need to put in your current password to confirm the change of information on your account. Okay, on SteemStars. So if you put your password in there, you've got your new Steam account name right here, and then you press update. Now notice, please, some of the experienced users on Steam may think that they need to add their up top here, that when you're browsing to your Steam account, you need to put an @ I don't, that's not needed. As a matter of fact, it will actually make it so that your account doesn't work properly. So please leave out the @ okay? And just put the username and click update. Okay, so once we've clicked update, we'll have this notification that we've successfully updated. And then we can actually just click on Galaxy here again to get rid of that notification. And give it a little bit here, because it's loading, in my case specifically, it's loading a fair chunk of data. Okay? So once it's loaded up all of that information, then we'll be able to see our discovery tool here. Okay, so yeah, it starts you off in this kind of zoomed out view. And the way this information is being displayed is there's kind of some color coding data being communicated here, and we can get that by dropping onto the legend. So yellow nodes are follower, so those are people that are following you. This green node here, those are people that are both following you and you're following. Okay, and then this the blue here are people that you've followed. Okay. So that's that little bit of information communicated there. So yeah, let's take a further look at how you can use the current version of SteemStars as a discovery tool. So once it's loaded back up here, I apologize, it takes a bit, but as I mentioned, it is loading a fair amount of information. So we can take a look here, and we can see like all of the accounts that are, so this is Joan Altrez, Cian Defe, all of the accounts that are basically associated with your account, okay? And one of the things that we can do here is we can click on view on Steam, and it's going to take us automatically to whoever's account it was that we had selected. Notice that I did have that account selected, okay? When it highlights like that, it pops out like that. That means that the account is selected. And yeah, we can hit this View on Steam button right here, and it's going to pop open their blog, okay? So that's how you can use it as sort of a discovery tool. Um, and I've had a little bit of fun with that. I've just kind of playing with it. I'm sure there's other things that you can use it for, just with what's created here. And if anybody discovers a useful application for what I've got running in version framework 1, or framework version 1, sorry, please let me know. Hit me up in the comments if you've, you know, found anything that seems interesting to you there. I'm more than happy to hear about, you know, any discoveries that people are making on this platform that I've created. So the way that I went about doing that, the reason I keep on referring to it as version framework 1 is that this is built entirely, well, not entirely, sorry. This is built primarily using Ruby on Rails, and the communicator that I used for Steam is a tool called Radiator, and that's basically a little API created by Inertia that allows you to communicate with the Steam blockchain and pull all of this information, you know, these accounts that are associated with my account or your account, whatever. Yeah, so big prop-ups to Radiator and Inertia there for making that possible. He's done a lot of work on that tool, and it's pretty sweet. So one of the other things that I'll point out here is that we do also have a bunch of information for accounts pulled in from Steam, and that's this account information panel here. You can get it for yourself by clicking on account info. And yeah, so this basically just displays, you know, the amount of how long ago you created your account, your reputation. That's the raw reputation, not to be confused with a computed reputation level, which is actually displayed on Steam. This is your computed reputation level. How long ago you voted, how long ago you posted, how long ago you commented, yeah, so on and so forth. They're all fairly straightforward and self-explanatory. Your witness votes, and this bottom one here, this is the total amount of Steam that exists. So yeah. One other thing is you can actually view all of that exact same information for any one of the accounts that are displayed inside your cloud, simply by selecting them just the same way you did with the view on Steam. But instead of clicking view on Steam, you click this view account info button, okay? And that's going to take that name and that's going to put it into, pull the information for it and display that to you. Okay, so that's about it for SteemStars framework version 1. Yeah, like I said, anybody that's discovered new and interesting, nuanced ways of using that tool, please hit me up and let me know, because I'm more than interested to kind of hear about that stuff. Because yeah, as you guys know, this is what I'm working on. This is my passion right here. So yeah. The next thing that I wanted to kind of go over and touch base on is where's framework version 2 at. So let's pop over to GitHub. This is the repo for the most recent version, the version that I'm currently working on. It's visible at Tadasu85. That's my GitHub account / SteemStars sales. And the reason for the sales part is that's the new framework that I'm using. So I've converted over entirely from Ruby and Ruby on Rails over to a different framework, all based in JavaScript and Node, called Sales. Anyways, for some of you, well, most of you likely, that's kind of neither here or there. You know, where's the good stuff, right? So what has been happening recently in SteemStars is I've been working on building out um, let me just get this pulled up, but I've been working on building up my database in SteemStars. Okay, so basically, um, you know, some of the information that I need within SteemStars is accounts, obviously, a full list of the accounts on Steam, to be able to go about generating that relational information right inside SteemStars. And the main reason for that, the main reason that I want to go about doing that is, you know, delay times. Okay, if I'm being 100% honest with that, I want to make sure that, you know, SteamStars being a real-time application or a real-time game, I need to be able to pull that data as quickly as possible. So yeah, I've been working on that recently, and we can take a look in here. And I know for some of you, as a matter of fact, most of you, this stuff right here won't make a whole lot of sense. So just kind of try and bear with me. Basically, this is my back end. You know, this is my development interface. This is what I use for building SteemStars. And I just want to show you sort of the database structure of SteemStars right now, what I've been able to accomplish, and, you know, kind of where I'm moving forward from where I'm at, where I'm moving forward to from where I'm at. So this back end panel here that I've got, this will sort of be, you know, once I start getting game administrators in, this is going to be the back-end panel that they're going to be using, okay? And this kind of allows them to look at all the information on SteemStars in kind of a verbose way. These are what are known as models. So they're kind of descriptions of the type of objects that exist within SteemStars. One of the types of objects that exist within SteemStars is this concept of a planet, okay? And basically every account on Steam, in SteemStars, it's a planet. And that's the reason that I need all of those account names, is because I need all of that information to be able to construct it. So right now, I've got the database populated with all 141,274 accounts on Steam. Now, obviously, that's updating. There's more accounts being created all the time. Like every day, I think we average probably around 200 more accounts on Steam every day. So eventually, what I'll have to do is I'll have to construct a watcher that runs in the SteemStars application and kind of updates that dynamically to pull in those new accounts constantly. But for the time being, this is my working model. So this is the accounts that I've managed to pull in so far. And basically, you know, this is fairly innocuous. Basically, this just contains all of the account names on Steam. That's about it. So yeah, from the, you know, from just looking at it like that, it looks fairly boring, right? Except for the fact that it's all, you know, 141,000 entries is, you know, a bit of data to work with. So I'm kind of enjoying that. So the way that works is there's a few pieces that are important to a game, okay? And they're basically sets of data. So one of those sets of data is the planets. Another one of the sets of data is edges. So this concept of an edge is an edge describes the relationship or a connection from one planet to another, right? And they're two-way, basically. Like if you have a connection from a planet, then it can be traversed in one direction or another. But basically, we have point A in an edge and we have point B in an edge, right? And so any of those relationships that exist within Steam are actually going to need to be pulled in. I'm going to be pulling them into SteemStars database, and those relationships are based upon who you're following. Okay, so in the case of my account, it'd be 365 followers that I'd be pulling in. That there would be edges for my account, and then there'd be somewhere between that, because a bunch of these will be mutuals, and another 377 following, right? So all of those would be edges from, let's say, my account to a Bits account, right? There would be an edge for that. And I'm going to have to populate that data into the database at some point in time. For the time being, I'm still working on getting all of the information properly computed inside the database for planets. And all of the information that's important there is, I've described it here already, and let's take a look at my back end and just take a look at that information here. So this is the planet model. This describes all of the kind of attributes that exist on the planet. So a planet's going to need to have an x-coordinate, and that'll be a float, basically just a number that has the potential to have a decimal place. That's what a float is, for any of you who don't know. It also needs to have a y-coordinate. And the reason for this, the reason that we need an x-coordinate and a y-coordinate is because, as we saw from SteemStars Framework version 1, is, this entire game interface is graph. It's just a big graph. That's all it really is. So, it's got a nice pretty background and stuff like that, but essentially it's just a big graph with a bunch of points that need to describe their location on that graph. So that's the usefulness of this x-coordinate and this y-coordinate. Okay? Yeah, so the attributes that exist on there are a name, which we've got populated already, as we can see. So that's the name attribute. We haven't populated X or Y yet because I need to go about computing that still. That'll be an iterative method that I'll basically pass through all of my entries inside the database right now. And currently, what I'm thinking is I'm going to make the galaxy spiral shaped, because that's a very standard shape for a galaxy. So once I do that, I'll be more than happy to show you guys that. But let's move along here. So we've got those three there, the X, the Y, the name. Now there's this next idea of, excuse me, sorry. There's this next idea on every planet. It needs to describe its inhabitants. Okay? So basically, inhabitants are players that have population on that planet, right? And this can be any number of players can have population on a planet. If the planet doesn't belong to you, then you're going to need to establish an embassy on that planet before you can have population on it. But, those are nuances for the time being. As far as the model is concerned, as far as the planet model is concerned, it needs to store this information of, what are my inhabitants? As an individual planet, what are my inhabitants, right? And the way that I'm going to go about describing that is basically a list that will be population. Um, and there's a backwards link from the population model, so that's actually a model, and that's that inhabitants list is referencing that population model. I'll take a look at that in a second there. But there's one other thing that it needs to describe is uh, what method does it describe that connection by, right? So let's take a look at population here. So there's three attributes on the population model that are important. There's the location, and this, of course, describes the planet, right? That would be the location, and that creates that connection. So that the planet knows that this population is in it. Okay, I hope that made sense, because it's still not 100% solid in my own head, but anyways, besides the point. The next thing that a population entry needs to, or sorry, a population object needs to describe is this is not users, this is just user. It needs to describe one user, and that's a string. The location is a string as well. And then the next thing that it needs to describe is an amount. So that's the amount of population on the planet. Okay? So that's all fairly straightforward. So each user will have an amount of population on each planet that they are inhabiting. Okay? Yeah. That's where that's at. And then the last thing that a planet needs to describe is what game it belongs to. Now, for the time being, I am planning on making SteemStars single shard. So there's not going to be more than one SteemStars game running at any given time. There's just going to be one. But the way that I'm constructing this is there will be the potential, I could fairly easily make it so that there is more than one SteemStars game running at a time, because I'm describing the game model in this way. So I would potentially have, a set of planets that belongs to my game entry of this, generation 1, and then of course this is the ID that's referenced here is this one here, right? But then on top of that, I could potentially have another set of planets that belongs to another ID that's another one of these models, right? And this is the game model here. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with the progress of SteemStars. They're just kind of moving along. I think I've mentioned this before, but I am a fairly new developer. So stuff that you think might maybe it's supposed to take less time, but this is a learning curve for me. So for any of my avid viewers that are out there watching and saying to themselves, "Well, I just want to play the game right now," and I do have a couple. I'm sorry, but well, no, I'm not actually sorry, because no, I'm not sorry. No, I take that back. This is a learning experience for me, and it's going to take time, and I really do appreciate, like your guys' enthusiasm about it, but it'll come out when it comes out, and it'll be ready when it's ready. And that's the way it is. So, yeah. So that's about all I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this information. I hope it was valuable. Um, I hope any of my early adopters that have not accepted their SteemStars tokens yet get the chance to create themselves their Counterparty wallet and hit me up in the comments so that I can get those tokens out to you, because that'd be fantastic, obviously. Yeah, and thank you guys so much for joining me and kind of following along on this expedition into the unknown, for me anyways. Um, so long. I hope the rest of your day treats you well. Bye.